wonder, is it worth living now? They told me dreams come true once you live it out. I picked up pieces from my childhood in a broken house and heal my soul from the trauma we've been given now. I hear the whispers in the wind under smoky clouds and tell myself once again, I'ma work it out. So much shit can happen, yo, it got me tripping now. Yeah, it's feeling different now. Feel like I'm zoned out, put my phone down, damn it's cold out. Plotting on a rollout, we took our own route, really on our own now. These them winter schemes, plotting for better dreams, cooking flows and melodies for OGs with felonies who've been locked since the 70s. Who gotta
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, it does not matter who the host is. Anyways, today is... Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Today is Tuesday, February the 1st of 2022. Now I can officially say it. It is day 32 of the year, because if I just said, hey, it's day one, you know, you're going to be like, what? It's day one? How's it day one? Anyway, it's day 32 of the year, and only 333 days remaining before it is all over with. Yeah, before the whole thing is done, finito, over, done, whatever you want to call it, before it is all hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Oh, sorry. Maybe I shouldn't be singing first thing in the morning. But anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. As you are aware, might not be aware, are somewhere aware, I don't know, somewhere inside of the intervals of the things that we are talking about on this lovely Tuesday. Anyway, so besides that, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, and it sounds something along this lines.
Radio.
Yep, we are hanging out with our friends at Radio Big.FM as they do their thing, we do our thing, and everybody's doing a thing together in some way, shape, or form. So I guess that's a good thing. Anyway, so let's start talking right away what was trending in the overnight, because that's always important. So taking it from the top to the bottom to the bottom to the top real quick. Let's see, Rihanna and ASAP Rocky were trending on Monday morning because they're expecting a baby. Happy Lunar New Year landed on Twitter's top 10 as trends yesterday as the countries around the world celebrated the Lunar New Year, which takes place, well, today. After the news broke that BTS Jimin underwent emergency surgery on Monday, fans were quick to show their support with Get Well Soon, Jimin. So there you go. Black History Month was trending in anticipation of the month of February that honors and celebrates the achievement of Black individuals in their community. So that was all that was hitting the trends as of Ajed. Let's talk about it real quick, because this is going to be important, so we're going to talk about this. The charts, because it is Tuesday, so it is a good day to talk about the charts and what is going on and all that kind of fun stuff. So taking it from the top to the bottom to the bottom to the top, here we go. The number 5 songs on iTunes and Spotify, the number 5 spot according to iTunes was Elton John and Dua Lipa with Cold Heart. Number 4 was Gail with ABCDEFU. At number 3 was Jessica Dara with Surface Pressure. Hey now. At number 2 was Encanto with soundtrack with We Don't Talk About Bruno. And at the number 1 spot, according to iTunes, was Kid Rock's with We the People. Have you heard that one? I think I played it last week. At number 5, according to Spotify, was Adele with Easy on Me. At number 4 was Imagine Dragons with Enemy. At number 3 was The Kid and Justin Bieber with Stay. At number 2 was Gail with ABCDEFU. And at the number 1 spot was Glass Animals with Heat Waves. That reminds me, I really need to get back into doing this, into doing the alternative hits countdown. It's been a hot minute. I feel like I say that every time that we get to this point. So anyways, let's continue talking and moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff, because that's going to be important with what we have going on. So let us not let us not take too long before we get into the darkness here and talk about some other things, because I think that this is going to be important. So let's get moving and grooving right away, and let's bring in our friends, amigos, colleagues, compadres, compartners, whatever you want to call them, at Feature Story News, and let them tell you what is going on inside of the world of the news right here on the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visiting Ukraine, saying he's seeking a diplomatic solution to rising tensions with Russia. The UK has announced £88 million in funding for the promotion of stable governance in Ukraine and energy independence from Moscow. London's also set out legislation to allow it to toughen a sanctions response against Russia. Moscow insists it's not planning to invade Ukraine. Foreign policy expert Professor Angela Stent says avoiding an invasion will require compromises.
He now needs to go back to his population and say he's had a win. So if he doesn't invade, he's going to have to get something from the West, which he can present as, as something positive for Russia. But it's not going to be what he's demanded, which, of course, is NATO promising that it will never expand again and that it will retreat to its 1997 posture in Europe.
Millions of people in Asia are marking the Lunar New Year with reduced travel plans. Officials in China believe 1.18 billion trips will be made, compared with around 3 billion before the COVID-19 pandemic. China continues to pursue a zero-COVID strategy as it prepares to host the Winter Olympics, which start this week. Japan has decided to recommend a complex of gold and silver mines on the western island of Sedo for the 2023 UNESCO World Heritage List. The move has caused protests from South Korea as the site is linked to wartime forced labour. Phoebe Amoroso reports from FSN's bureau in Tokyo.
The Japanese government endorsed the nomination on Tuesday in time to meet the UN deadline. The mine on Sado Island was one of the largest producers of gold in the 17th century, but issues stem from World War II, when South Koreans were used as forced labour. Seoul has strongly urged Japan not to pursue the listing. The latest decision is likely to cause further tensions between the two countries. Relations have already fallen to their lowest point in years due to disputes over compensation for wartime labour and so-called comfort women who were forced to work in Japanese military brothels. Phoebe Amoroso, Tokyo.
The New York Times is buying the online word game Wordle. It started going viral last month after people began sharing their scores on social media. Rachel Silverman reports from San Francisco.
The game, where online users have 6 chances to guess a secret 5-letter word, is now played by millions of people every day. Back on November 1st, Wordle had about 90 fans. The name of the game, a play on the name of the Brooklyn software engineer who created it, Josh Wardle, says he made a prototype of Wordle in 2013 and tweaked it during the COVID-19 pandemic for his partner, who likes word games. The newspaper reportedly paid a low 7 figures for the game. Rachel Silverman, San Francisco.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, taking a look in more depth today at the woes of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson through the eyes of a former government minister who wants the Prime Minister to quit.
I think what we're looking at now is probably a few more months of agony.
David Davis used to be Britain's Brexit minister, overseeing the country's departure from the European Union in the government of Prime Minister Theresa May. 2 weeks ago, he broke ranks with his own party and called for Boris Johnson's resignation over those Downing Street parties now being investigated by police as a possible breach of lockdown regulations.
When I made my intervention a week and a half ago, I guess, nearly 2 weeks ago now, I said afterwards, what I fear is the death of 1,000 cuts. This is what we're seeing now. This is precisely what's going on. My view is if he resigned, he would do the best thing for the country. He would do given what's going on elsewhere, he'd do the best thing for the party, and actually he'd do the best thing for himself. So his reputation for some 3 quite big achievements will still be there. If he doesn't, it'll be, as I say, a death of 1,000 cuts, and people will not remember the good things he did.
The police said yesterday they have received over 300 photographs and 500 pages of documents as they investigate a dozen separate gatherings, including one in the Prime Minister's own Downing Street flat. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visiting Ukraine, saying he's seeking a diplomatic solution to rising tensions with Russia. Millions of people in Asia are marking the Lunar New Year with reduced travel plans. Japan's recommending a complex of mines on a western island for the 2023 UNESCO World Heritage List, angering South Korea. And the New York Times is buying the online word game Wordle. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What? Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com for more information. Lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging on this lovely, lovely, lovely day, I might add. So anyways, let's start talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world as we have very little time together. Dispatches from the COVID hellscape. Here you go. Diabetes deaths have surpassed 100,000 this year for 2 years straight. In 2019, the disease killed 87,000 people. The pandemic obviously accelerated these numbers. It gets worse. The CDC notes that these deaths exclude people who died directly of COVID. Worth noting, it happens... let's see. So this kind of stuff does happen when you kind of have people that are forced into being into a general area, unable to do much and going around and about. Fines that the gym owners are for opening their business and all this other kind of fun stuff. So it kind of limits the people that have diabetes on what they are able to do. So it makes it a little bit more restrictive in that particular fashion on what is going to happen. So I guess this is going to be subject of conversation that we do need to have going forward, and it will be interesting to see how those things do come about and around and all that other kind of fun stuff. So we'll just keep it as that for the time being. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on real quick. Anthony Fauci tells the New York Times in a new podcast interview that when the science tells us that we're there, meaning that it's well behind us ending COVID mitigation rules, I will be very, very, very vocal about that. Today, we are not there yet. 2 years into this, I guess this is worth noting, 2 years into this, Fauci has not completely or ever said that the end of the pandemic restrictions look like. So he has said that it embodies the global scientific community. The end that he speaks of is arbitrary, I guess. That's certainly non-scientific, so I am not sure on how this will look in the long run. But I guess we'll find that out as we continue talking and moving around and all that kind of fun stuff. So before we get too far into this, I think it might be time for me to bring in Johnny Smalls and let him tell you about the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Equities ended a sour January on an up note, with the S&P 500 rising more than 1.75% at the high of the session. The move was led by a resurgence in tech sentiment led by Apple. Their better-than-expected earnings report and comments on the supply chain have given the market a second wind despite the rising threat of inflation. The odds of a rate hike in March are at about 100%, with a rising chance of 2 hikes by April. Assuming this week's NFP data is at least consistent with recent trends, the market needs to brace for a 50 basis point hike in March and maybe another one in April. This week will be all about earnings despite the NFP on Friday. This is the busiest week of the Q4 reporting season to date and promises to bring reports from more than 20% of the index, and more than enough to cause no small amount of volatility. If the reports continue to come in as they have, the market should brace for another spike in volatility, if not a downturn in market prices. While Q4 earnings are better than expected, the outlook for Q1 2022 is dimming. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one for sure on what is going on inside of the lovely, lovely world here. That is for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking. The Convoy Revolution, a group of American truckers, are organizing a convoy from California to Washington, D.C. in the style of the Canadian truckers convoying in Ottawa. A Facebook group for the demonstration has more than 100,000 members. No details yet, but organizers say that the mobilization will occur soon. So just something to talk about real quick. Canadian Standoff Part 1 truckers at the U.S.-Canadian border in northern Montana have blockaded one crossing there, and they were refused to move amid the police pressure. Canadian Standoff Part 2 attorneys for Ottawa, Canada, have begun a court proceeding to cease more than $10 million raised by supporters for the convoy gridlocking the city in protest of onerous COVID mitigation protocols. They say that it covers the city's expenses that incurred from the protest. Meanwhile, one donor has given to the effort $42,069 or $420.69. Get it? And instead of providing their name on the GoFundMe, they merely included the link to liar.com. Liar.com now redirects to the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Wikipedia page. So just something to talk about real quick. Worth noting, in recent days, Elon Musk has expressed his support on Twitter for the trucker convoy and says that the adolescents chuckle over the weed and sex jokes exemplified by those numbers. One can only hope that the work of the eccentric zillionaires siding with the working class. Also worth noting, Trudeau, who has says that everyone needs to get vaccinated to stop the spread of COVID, and himself jabbed, announced on Monday morning that he has COVID. So there you go. Just some things to think about. During the virtual press conference, Trudeau said that he supports peaceful protests, but not those with hateful rhetoric and disrespect of the science and frontline health workers. He also accused the protesters of harming small businesses. But wait, we have more. Of course, COVID restrictions have made it impossible for many segments of the population to comfortably patronize these small businesses. Those in the convoy need somewhere to buy living supplies, food, eat, while others have camped out and where they're going maskless and place for hungry paying customers in numbers of businesses and seems by months. This is actually a long one, it seems like. By the way, the Communist Party of the Canada lamented in a tweet on convoy gridlock is really about the ultra-right demanding profits that come before health in all cases. And can we enjoy the irony of the leftists freaking out over the world that finally underlying against the explicitive, enemy? The leftists who say that they live in some home identified rely on these workers prepared by DoorDashes and Instacarts and Amazon packages after all. Unrelated, but speaking to Elon's empire, a cruise ship wandered into the exclusion zone set aside by SpaceX launch on Sunday evening, scrapping the rocket's launch for the fourth time. It has previously been postponed for weather. It is supposed to take a satellite of the Italian space agency into orbit. But going back to this whole Canadian convoy thing real quick, it's amazing to me on what they're doing there. And let's just be realistic. We talk about people all the time that are inside of the community of drivers and passengers and all that kind of fun stuff, just based on some of the past stuff that I've done, just kind of the way that it has worked out for me. But it's amazing to see that this is what's going on, and now there is a potential of this occurring here in the U.S. So it'll be interesting on how this will look over the next few weeks. It will be interesting to see what ends up taking place and what resolutions will go into place and what revolutions will happen out of it, if any, because that's going to be the whole other conversation on how some of these people are going to look at this and go, okay, so let's talk about this. If we are doing gridlock, if we are doing some of these things that end up taking place and saying, okay, lock it down and don't let anybody buy, how are people going to feel about that? Seriously, it's going to be an interesting convo because people are going to be pissed off about this whole thing. But then again, you know how that goes.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Oh, and by the way, before I forget, because I know there has already been some questions that have come in this morning about this. Yeah, there has been a little change-orama when it comes to the Jay Allen Show. I know that previously we were releasing the episode at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or midnight. We have moved that forward by 12 hours now, meaning so now we're 12 hours later, so it will be starting to come out at noon Eastern Time. Noon Eastern Time on release date. So just to clarify some of that, because I know that that's popped up this morning. So now we're all on the same page. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. And speaking of billionaires, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, unloaded 2.5 million shares of Amazon last year, worth about $8 billion in 2021. Jeff Bezos still holds the voting power and that comes with all the ex's shares, on which she still has about 10 million. Yes, 10 million. 10 million shares. So she dropped 2.5 million shares for $8 billion. Still has about 10 million shares. Oh, lifestyles of the rich and the famous. There you go. Anyways, let's talk about some other things. The economy is totally fine and normal. Yeah, Domino's wants you to order pizza online, but please pick it up for carryout. They're incentivizing customers with a $3 credit for future carryout order every time they do so. The promotion runs until mid-May. The stunt will also help alleviate the demand of delivery drivers, which is increasingly hard to find and retain. Meanwhile, Domino's will also be offering 8 chicken wings in the standard order, down from the previous 10 that they offered in the past. I guess that's one way to save money. But wasn't Domino's at some point trying out that whole ordeal of doing the car gimmick, where it was the autonomous car going around and about and taking people and doing all that other kind of fun stuff, where they were able to take people out? Well, not take people out. Let's not take people out, but take the food to the people directly, opposed to them having to come and pick it up. I think you had to walk outside. That's about as fancy as it got, to some extent. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about this. Maybe because I'm just obsessed with autonomous drivers. Maybe that's something to talk about. So anyways, it is 28 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time for us to go ahead and do that thing that we call our main story right now. So let's go ahead and go through that right now on the Rated R Safety Show.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this. If you did pay attention this morning and saw the title of the episode, it was a pretty simple one, but down to the point. Are you really okay? Are you really okay was the conversation. And I wanted to come in this morning and I thought about this. And I wanted to talk about it, and I almost started off the show with it. I almost started off our conversation today just going through this. And that question comes about more and more and more and more, because I think it is so important for us to have this discussion, opposed to us just going, life is grand, let's continue walking through life and nothing's happening. Because I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't think that nothing's happening. I don't think that, nothing's happening at all time. I think people want to have that impression of where we're going, oh yes, nothing's happening. Well, something is happening even when nothing is happening. And I know that can become confusing quick, but let's talk about this real quick. The former Miss USA, Chelsea Chris, has died. The former Miss USA passed away on Sunday after a fall from a high-rise home in New York City. The investigation into her death is underway, but authorities told TMZ they believe that she jumped from the 9th floor balcony. She was 30. Now, it gets interesting because there's some differing news stories out there. Miss USA 2019 and attorney Chelsea Chris dies at the age of 30 after jumping from a 60-story building. So take a listen to this. I'm going to say that some of this stuff is probably going to have some trigger warnings and contains details about suicide. So I want to make sure that we're clear here. Miss USA 2019, Chelsea Chris, has died at the age of 30. Chris was an attorney who sought to help reform America's justice system. She also was crowned Miss USA as Miss North Carolina in May of 2019. The beauty queen lived in the 9th floor of the Orion building and was last seen on the 29th floor terrace, according to a source. She died after jumping from the 60-story building at the 350th West 42nd Street in New York City around 7:15 a.m. local time, the New York Post reports. Shortly before she passed away, the 30-year-old lawyer posted on her Instagram. This is what it says. I want you to pay close attention to this. May this day bring you rest and peace. May this day bring you rest and peace. Not only a beautiful, but she was smart. She was a lawyer, as a police source said about Chris. She has a life that anyone would be jealous of, and it's just so sad to take a listen to this. In devastation and a great sorrow, we share the passing of our beloved Chris. Chelsea Christ, family said on Sunday in a statement as per People magazine. Her great light was one of that inspired others around the world, and her beauty and strength. She cared and she loved, she laughed and she shined. Chelsea embodied love, and others were through others were her work as an attorney fighting social justice, as Miss USA, and a host of the TV show Extra, but also importantly as a daughter, sister, friend, mentor, colleague. We know her impact that will live on. They added her family is requesting privacy during this difficult time of what is going on. So I want to talk about this real quick. I want to go a little bit deeper here. She was a lawyer. She was a Miss USA. She was all these things that other people would admire from afar. All these other people would say, this is so great. This person has a lifestyle that I would be intrigued to having. And let's kind of not limit this to just her, but I want you looking at this from an outsider perspective. I want you to look at this as if you are looking from the outside looking towards this person, you're saying, hey, they have all of it together. And that is the thing. That is the thing that we have to talk about all the time. Here's what happens. People struggle with mental health. And she's talked about this in the past. She talked about her struggle with mental health. But what's amazing is that you would never expect, and that's the interesting part, is the expectation of people where this would be something for her. Back in 2019, Chris opened up about her mental health and how she coped with the stress of World Mental Health Day. I do a lot to make sure that I maintain my mental health, she said on Facebook. And most important thing that I did was talk to a counselor. She's really easy to talk to. She gives me some great strategies, especially when I'm sad or happy or when I have a busy month ahead of me. When I'm not talking to my counselor, I spend time at the end of every single day just to decompress. According to Chris added, I unplug, I shut off my phone. I don't answer messages. I just sit and watch my favorite movies. This is what she said. And you know, you look at this and you go, what are the questions that you ask? What are the questions that you ask when you contact someone to see how they're doing? Because let's just be realistic. We are programmed in society, and I did use the word programmed here, to always say that we're okay. How are you doing? I'm okay. I'm good. And people don't want to have that truthful conversation. People don't want to have that because there is that stigma, and there is a stigma about mental health. There is a stigma about we can't tell people how we're really feeling. It is not okay about us saying, hey, there is a problem that I am having with X, Y, or Z. And why is that? I don't know. I want you to think about this. Tyree, famous actor, model, Kanye West, both were online at some point, had a mental breakdown and showed it. What happened? They became memes on the internet. They became memes on the internet by having a mental breakdown because we still affiliate stigma when it comes to this, and people think that it's okay to make fun of these issues. And it's not okay. It's not okay. And the problem that we run into is that we don't know who's suffering. And if you're looking at things, and I know we're looking at a celebrity, we're looking at celebrities as we're talking about this, and go, okay, well, it's funny, it's okay to make a meme about them, it's okay to incorporate X, Y, and Z. Why am I going to want to talk about this? Why am I going to want to talk about that I'm having a struggle? I'm not going to. I'm not going to want to bring it up in any way, shape, or form. It's just how it goes. So how do we make this a little bit more rational of a conversation? How do we make it where the stigma's not there? How do we make it where the conversation can occur? You have to normalize it. You have to normalize it. There's no other way around it. It's normalizing a conversation of things that are occurring, because if not, we're never going to be able to move forward. It's not going to be okay to talk about mental health. It's not going to be okay for us to go forward and talk about these things. And listen, I will tell you today, there is somebody that you know that is struggling with mental health. There is somebody who has a struggle today that they're not sure what to do. They are having mental health issues. They are depressed. They are contemplating suicide. There is something going on with someone that you know out there today. Would you be willing to talk to them? And would you be willing to talk to them without making fun of them? Would you be willing to talk to them and help them find someone if they need help? Listen, I'm going to tell you, not everyone can counsel people that are going through these struggles. Some people don't even understand how this happens. And I get it. But it still should not be something where there is a level of shame put into people because of it. Think about that for a moment. So right now, what I would like to tell you is that if you are struggling with depression or mental health, you can contact the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. You can also go to their website at afsp.org. I'm going to tell you, this should become the norm of a conversation. This should not become one of those conversations where you can't have the conversation with people. You need to be available for others, and you need to know as well that there is help out there for you if you're struggling yourself. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. We'll be back on the Rated R Safety Show right after this.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
The good-hearted, just don't bargain. Stay in your lane and keep hogging. Know that you a target and gotta finish what you started. Life of being an artist, gotta show them where your heart is. Put your all in, keep calling, keep going, don't stall it. Don't fall for what they all been dishing now. Just be yourself and it'll work it out. I wonder, is it worth living now? They told me dreams come true once you live it out. I picked up pieces from my childhood in a broken house and healed my soul from the trauma we've been given now. I hear the whispers in the wind under smoky clouds.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour.
Get out. So much shit can happen, yo, it got me tripping now.
This is ISO Indies featuring King Sis.
Yo, living in doubt could be the death for you. It's only
right here on the Rated R Safety Show.
Really ones that step to you and let you
this one's called Waterfalls.
You ride away in your soul.
This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes.
You near it, a lot of shit to bear with. Sometimes you don't want to share it, but don't keep it in cause you fear it. It's an epidemic.
I'd like to thank ISO Indies for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So anyways, let's get back into the move and the groove of things going on inside of this world of ours. Let's start talking about shooting some bull real quick. Furry and funny. This is the best thing that you're going to hear all day. Scientists say that they have say that some animals tend to laugh. And we're just not talking about monkeys and hyenas. A team at UCLA conducted a study of the phenomenon of the laughter across animals' kingdom and determined that at least 65 species of animals exhibit behavior known as vocal play, which might be thought of as laughter. They found that such vocal play behaviors documented in a variety of primates, domestic cows and dogs, foxes, seals, mongoose, as well as 3 bird species, including parakeets and the Australian magpies. The researchers say that the shows also have the behavior once thought to be particular to humans. Turns out that it's closely tied into the behavior shared with species separated from us by 10 million years plus. No kidding, I swear that my cat hides the fact that he's laughing at me all day long, so I kind of believe that all the way across the board. And why don't they just laugh? Animals, families, have fathers and that do stupid things too. So I guess that's all kinds of fun stuff to think about as well as we are talking on this lovely morning. Anyways, let's continue talking. Coffee talk is nothing sacred. So now that global warming is coming after our coffee, according to a new study published last week, the scientists at the journal PLOS ONE, climate change will make it much harder to grow coffee in the coming years. According to the projections from several global climate models, coffee plants will be drastically less suitable for cultivation in current coffee preceding regions by 2050. Coffee, which is used by Starbucks and other major coffee sellers, is already finically crop, requires specific conditions to flourish. The authors concluded that the climate change adaptation will necessarily is the most major producing region, not just for coffee, but also for cashews, avocados as well. This could also include breeding new varieties of coffee, in which might also be switching into robust trees, which are hardier and more to produce beans and consumed to be lower quality than the Arabica beans. So there you go. So just be like other people and just start liking decaf, and you won't have that problem. So the other thing is trees. I thought coffees came from the ground, so there's some other things people think about, and I don't think I can imagine any of this will have an effect on the price, because the price of coffee is it's almost like they're giving it away these days. You know what I'm saying there. Anyways, let's continue talking. Some slice advice for you real quick. No, this is not coming from the Dexter Morgan playbook here, but it is a slice advice. It's a big problem, especially if you have kids or adults who are as petty as I am, who are accidentally, you give them a smaller treat than the other. Now teams of the Japanese high schoolers has won innovation competition after coming up with the high-tech device that divides cake and pizza into equal portions every single time. The students from Kongdao High School in Japan came up with a tool that calibrates the angles in which the tasty treats needs to be cut, depending on the number of slices needed. Aptly named Get Along with Everyone, the ingenious device consists of the turntable in which a cake or a pizza is set by the user, in a laser system that projects exact angle in which the slice should be cut. All the users has to do is adjust the arrow shaped slider as the desired number of slices, and the laser beam guides the knife into the perfectly equal portion. Then it's up for grab, the 2 slices before anyone else notices. Some kids will still complain about the other one got the more icing. However, you know how that goes already. So you can imagine how that's going to be, as we are talking on this lovely Tuesday, talking about a little bit about everything that is going on inside of our little world, because that's always important. So let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. So I talked about it at the very beginning of the show here. Rihanna and ASAP, Rocky, both 33, are expecting their first child together. The two were spotted in Harlem over the weekend, where Riri showed off her growing bump. The couple, who were friends for years, started dating back in 2022. How are you dating, or in 2020? How are you dating in 2020? I thought everybody was locked up. Isn't that what happened? Anyway, just some things to think about real quick. What else we got going on? A California resident, we talked about this yesterday, won the Friday Mega Million jackpot for $421 million. The winner has the option of taking a $289.5 million lump sum. Tonight's drawing for a $20 million jackpot or a $13.7 million cash payout. So we're going to talk about this real quick. Should we? Now, I don't think we need to talk about it. Let's talk about some other stuff, because that's what we have going on. We already talked about Rogan addressing the backlash. We did. I don't think I need to go over that again. We talked about that yesterday. That was yesterday's news. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about sports real quick. Tom Brady spoke about the retirement rumors on Monday night on his Let's Go podcast, after multiple outlets reported over the weekend that Brady would not be playing for the 23rd season. He claims that he is still undecided. So there you go. What else are we seeing here? Russell Wilson is heading to the Pro Bowl. The Seahawks quarterback will be replacing Tom Brady, who opted out of the event because of an injury. This will be Wilson's 9th time on the on his NFL season for the Pro Bowl roster, tying Hall of Fame tackle Walter Jones. The Pro Bowl will take place on February the 6th, so if you're on the lookout for that. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Wisdom the albatross hatches the chick at 70 years old at the Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge. The eggs was laid sometime during the last few days of November. Wisdom is the world's oldest known bird. So there you go. If you're looking for some birthdays for today, I got some for you. Paris Smith turns 22. Landon Cube, 24. Harry Styles turns 28 today. Youngin turns 30. Ronda Rousey turns 35 today. Heather Morris turns 35. Lauren Conrad turns 36. And Big Boy, the rapper, turns 47 today, just in case you're looking for some of those things. What days of the year could you celebrate today? I got some of those real quick. National Baked Alaska Day. How do you bake Alaska? Can somebody tell me that? National Dark Chocolate Day. National Freedom Day. National Get Up Day. National Serpent Day, National Texas Day, February International Days, No Politics Day, Spunky Old Broads Day. How did you get that one passed? What are you celebrating today? Oh, we're celebrating Spunky Old Broads Day. Yeah, I'm sure that went over as like a fart in church as people were talking about it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Lisa. Albert Schweitzer said, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." So very true. Thank you, Lisa. If you're lonely and you want to meet people, go out and find a nonprofit who needs help and give them your time. You'll meet some other wonderful people, and you'll be filled with joy in knowing that you're doing something for others. The cool side effect of giving your time, you'll meet awesome people, and some of them could become your friends, and that could lead to happiness. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. Here is something I invite you to reflect on. When you are setting wellness goals, health is the how, not the why. Sometimes when people get asked why they're looking to lose weight, their answer is to be healthy. However, this is a very vague goal that unless health is in a critical condition, it doesn't create a strong emotional pull for most of us. Why is emotional pull important? Well, imagine someone approaches you offering $1 million if you lose 10 pounds within 2 months. I think most of us will do everything possible to lose those 10 pounds. Even if we don't have 10 pounds to lose, we will find them and lose them. And this is why your end goal has to truly matter to you. If you're looking for better health, reframe your goals from the standpoint of what you're going to do with better health and how it's going to help you be fulfilled, arriving to a goal that truly matters to you. For additional resources, check out alessamorgan.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visiting Ukraine, saying he's seeking a diplomatic solution to tensions with Russia. Millions of people in Asia are marking the Lunar New Year with reduced travel plans. Japan's recommending a complex of mines on the western island of Sado for the 2023 UNESCO World Heritage List, angering South Korea. And the New York Times is buying the online game Wordle, which started going viral last month.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, 53 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing the things that we get to do together. Anyways, let's talk about Did You Know? Move over, Squid Games. There's a new South Korean thriller in town. It's already earned the perfect 100 score according to Rotten Tomatoes. The latest Netflix offering of All of Us Are Dead, a zombie horror, which has been praised by audience and critics alike after dropping on Friday. The thriller takes place in a high school that becomes overrun with zombies, with students forced to decide whether to hide, flee, or fight. According to comicbook.com, the show has already reached a third spot on the streaming platform in the U.S. alone. So I guess we're really going to start seeing all kinds of fun stuff coming our general direction about some different style shows that will be readily available if you're so inclined to watch them. So there you go. That could be some fun stuff as we are going around and about and all that other kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's talk about some other things coming up. Anyways, before I forget, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out and listen to our exclusive shows over there in the morning as we listen, play some music, talk about some entertainment news stuff. You're more than welcome on coming over there if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. The average person walks the equivalent of twice around the world in a lifetime. In Japan, it is common to put ketchup on rice. There are no ants in Iceland, Antarctica, and Greenland. The average home creates more pollution than the average car. Does that base on length of time? I mean, I would like to have a better understanding of that one. The average home, I already said that. Contrary to popular belief, chocolate does not cause acne. Oh, that's good to know. And most burglaries occur during the daytime. Just in case if you were not aware of that, now you know. Anyways, before you forget, know that Valentine's Day is in 14 days or so. 2 weeks from today, just in case, if that's going to be important for you, just make sure that you do remember. Okay, let's talk about some scoops of BS. The website Outlook has published a list of Taylor Swift's best songs about former boyfriends, so be sure to check it out next time that you have 16 hours to kill. Production is finished for the third Legally Blonde movie. It's set to be released in May. It was either that or just people that want to hand over $16.50 for nothing. A report claims that people with blue eyes are more likely to be alcoholics, although it's hard to tell the real color of their eyes because they're always bloodshot. In a survey, sex topped the list of what makes people the happiest. Okay, I can understand that the findings, but why didn't they also ask married folks? Thought of the day: difficult roads always lead to beautiful destinations, obviously by someone who's never been through Wyoming. Something to think about.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so here you go. If you need a random joke for today, I got one. I don't normally brag about the expensive trips, but I also just got home from the vet, so there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is something that you never buy, even if it became obscenely wealthy? If you need something for the water, or if you need a question for the water cooler, try this one. The average parent does this 4 times a week. The average single person just once. What is it? Come on, this one's an easy one. Laundry. Of course it's laundry. What else are you going to be doing? Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on radiobig.fm and safetyfm.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. We can't do what we do on our radio stations without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. So if you want to hang out with us throughout the rest of the day, you're more than welcome on doing so on either one of our stations. We do appreciate you doing so. As we do our social media gig, it's always interesting just to see what happens as we do our streaming stuff. Not that I love being on camera, but I'm just telling you, it's just something that we do. We're a radio station first. Everything else kind of falls secondary in that particular regards. Anyway, so there you go. Keep the mental health thing on your mind today if you are going through any kind of struggles, as we were talking earlier today. always available. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, 1-800-273-8255. Keep that in mind as you go out throughout the day. Call someone, check in on a friend that you might not be, that you normally don't check on, just to see what's going on, because you never know where those roads might lead. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to the Rated R Safety Show. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.